Bridgerton could have looked entirely different if the showrunners and casting directors remained loyal to how the characters appear in Julia Quinn's famous book series. This is especially true for the love interests of the Bridgerton siblings. Simon, Duke of Hastings, was also a white person, like the Bridgertons. And Kate, Anthony's love interest and then wife, was also a fair-skinned lady. But what about their other features? Their hair, their eyes? How did Julia Quinn imagine them? And how it ended up on the show? Let's compare. This is gonna be so fun. Let's start with Daphne, who was named the Diamond of the Season in Bridgerton Season 1. Well, you'll be surprised to learn that Daphne in the books does not have an unexceptional beauty. She is described as having large, dark brown eyes with flecks of green and dark chestnut hair. She's considered pretty, but she's in no way exceptional. I entered Daphne's features into an image generator, and this is what she's supposed to look like. Also, in the book, she doesn't get married in her first season. She's out for 2 years before she meets Simon. Whereas in the show, season 1 starts with her introduction to the marriage market and she's immediately named the Diamond and meets Simon. Also, the show changed her hair to a lighter color while casting Phoebe, who has blue eyes. What do we think of this change? Speaking of Daphne, it wouldn't be proper to avoid talking about Simon, unlike what the show does. In the books, both Simon and Lady Danbury are white. In fact, Simon's icy blue eyes are emphasized over and over again. To be honest, Julia Quinn acts like brown eyes are the worst thing to ever happen to humanity in the entire book series, so she acts like the readers must know Simon's incredible blue eyes. Simon is also described as having glossy brown hair, and of course, he's handsome and strong. This is how he probably looked like, whereas this is how he ended up on the show. You won't see me complain because reggae is sexy as hell, so I'm moving on. What about Anthony Bridgerton? Was he as handsome as Jonathan Bailey? Actually, the show Anthony is probably the most similar to the book description out of all the characters in the series. He has thick chestnut hair and dark brown eyes. To be honest, having chestnut hair is a trait all Bridgerton siblings have. Lady Whistledown even calls them unfashionable for having chestnut hair. Yes, something they didn't choose. So Anthony is no different in the books. This is what the image generator gave me. I feel like Jonathan looks more like a man, whereas the AI version looks more like a boy. Does that make any sense? Also, did this version remind you of Jacob Elordi, or am I tripping? The Edwina and Kate sisters in the books are another story. Edwina actually has blonde hair and blue eyes and is considered much more beautiful than her sister Kate, who has brown hair and brown eyes. One thing they kept from the books is the fact that Kate is described as a lot taller than Edwina, but she's not described as a great beauty. She's well liked but not super desirable like Francesca or Sophie are depicted in the books. This is probably what she's supposed to look like. Honestly, AI is killing me because it keeps showing me these gorgeous women, even though I said to make her average pretty. Anyway, this would be Edwina in comparison. What do you think? Now, on to Colin and Penelope, our season 3 leads. In the books, Colin has emerald green eyes. Yes, I don't know if that's possible, but Julia Quinn emphasized his eye color multiple times. In the show, Luke has blue eyes. Also in the books, Benedict is the tallest brother, but the show changed that and made Colin the tallest. Of course, do I have to mention the chestnut hair? He turned out to be one handsome fella, don't you think? As for Penelope, she was a plus-size young woman in her first season, but then in her second season, she lost weight, a little under 10 kilograms. And only a decade later, she and Colin happened. So Penelope is at the age of 28 when she gets married to Colin. Since the book says Penelope lost some weight, most people assume that she got really skinny and thin. But I don't think that's the truth. She did lose weight and get skinnier, but she was still curvy. I remember Colin thinking that she looked fuller in one of their sex scenes, so Penelope is not really considered skinny even after she loses weight. The book makes a point about how unattractive she is though, whereas on the show, Nicola Coughlan has the most beautiful skin and eyes ever. I'm glad they made that change. Overall, in the book, Penelope has auburn hair and brown eyes. This is what she probably should have looked like. The most shocking character transformation happened for Francesca's love interest, Michael, who turned into a woman, Michaela. Let's look at how this couple was described in the book and how they ended up in the show. Francesca is described as the most beautiful and attractive girl of the Bridgerton family, and yes, even more than Daphne. And she has dark blue eyes. So you should know by now that if Julia gives a character blue eyes, they immediately become attractive. This is close to what she looked like. And Michael is also a white guy in the books, but since he spent 4 years in India, he's very tan, he has midnight black hair, and has silvery eyes. Book readers usually think of Henry Cavill or Richard Madden when they think about Michael, so the show decided to turn probably the hottest book character into a woman. The new actor is charismatic, I really liked her, I hope she can show us Michael's charm and sexiness. Another character we can compare is Eloise, whose looks are not the subject of great conversation in the Bridgerton books. But we do know that she gets a few marriage proposals and refuses them all, so she's a pretty lady who is single by choice. In the books, I think Julia forgets what eye color she gave Eloise because sometimes it's blue, sometimes it's green, and sometimes it's gray. I would say Claudia is a great casting choice and looks a lot like the book description of Eloise. Benedict, like I mentioned before, is the tallest of Bridgerton's siblings in the books, and actually he's the one that looks more like Edmund. He also has brown eyes and, you guessed it, chestnut hair. I love how all Bridgerton men basically look the same, which was the point of the books as well. They were all very attractive, always the catch of the season. Do you think Luke T was the best choice in terms of casting? Let's look at the mother who brought all of these children into the world. In the books, Violet is actually blonde with blue eyes and is very petite. There's even a scene where Kate tells Violet that her husband must have been pretty tall for her sons to have all been so tall as well, because Violet is visibly short. Ruth Gamble, who plays Violet on the show, is not short at all and is not blonde either, but she does have the most gorgeous blue eyes. So they kept that from the books. This is what she looks like in the books, whereas how she does on the show. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Tell me which Bridgerton character looks better in their book version. If you want to learn more about the Michael and Michaela drama, check out this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you soon.